integral, summation to integral. This is what we are discussing. Summation to integral calculus. This is what we are discussing. And we have introduced a two dimension, two different variables. The probability distribution in three dimensions means there are two independent variables and one dependent variable. Okay, what we have discussed, then we will take the circle example that is awaited. Okay, like this is x-axis and there is a probability distribution along the x-axis. The way we said there is a country. If I talk about number of people in the world, then they are n in numbers. If I talk about number of people in the world, then they are n in numbers. This n in number can be distributed over with the different variable. One variable is countrywide. This n number of people who are constant. There are n number of people in the world and it is constant. It can be said as a data center. In software technology, there is a technology called data center, whereas view can be different. View can be different. It comes as MVC design pattern, model view controller. So model means data and view means so many views will be there and any view can behave as a controller also. So model view controller means who can change the data. MVC design. So anyway, we have now there is one data that is called number of people around the world. But number of people around the world, they can be distributed over countries and they can be distributed over language manner. This is what we have been discussing. So if this is the country axis, x axis, and this is y axis. So y axis, So y axis is the language, and x axis is the country and language. Now the distribution of the n number of people, if we see country wise, then they are distributed like this. I was searching the which country comes as the first country. Which country comes as the first country if I take the alphabetical order? I believe Afghanistan comes first and followed by Algeria. So from Afghanistan, Algeria, and so on, India at the end, I believe Zimbabwe or some this country will come at the end. Each country, what is the population? Okay, so population is z-axis. This is x-axis. This is y-axis. This x-axis is country. Country by country, what is the population? If I take country number 1, 2, 3, 4, then there are 254 countries in the world. 254 countries. Against each country, I have a vertical bar. I have a vertical bar. And that vertical bar talks about the population of the country. Rather, I would say vertical bar talks about the population probability of the country, population percentage of the country. If I talk about India, then around 150 crore people live in India and around 900 crore people live in the world. Okay, it is one sixth. So it will come around, I believe, 17%. 17%. Every six people in the world, one person is from India and one person is from China. Okay, only 4% are distributed around the globe. This much the population, these two countries, historically, it has never been seen like this. Earlier, the population was more in the Europe, Africa, and Middle East country. I believe 600 years prior, 500 years prior, when Babur came to India. At that time, Indian population was 6 crore only. Now it is 150 crore. At that time, England population, I believe it was 6 crore when Babur came to India. India and England population were same. Drought came, famine came in England, so many things happened in England. India population considerably historically it is very less, but somehow due to some political change in India is soaring in the population anyway. Now, if I talk, this is a population axis. Then against India, there is a vertical bar that is how much it is? 150 1.5 billion by n. N is the number of people in the world. That is proportion for the India. This is called probability chart. This is called mass function, point mass function. Point mass function means there is no continuity here. At each country, then we have the one vertical bar. There is no continuity here. If I have for 254 countries, I have vertical bar, that is a probability bar. Top of the bar, I can connect through a point. I can take the top point of each bar, and I connect through a line. That line will that line can be described in a function. What is that function? Someone can deduce the function if it is possible. Okay, arbitrary line can be deduced through a function with the x, provided it will be complex. If it is not a straightforward, but it will be complex like logarithmic or trigonometry, sinusoidal, whatsoever. It will be a bunch of exponential complex function, but it can be deduced. Okay, if function is ready, then placing any x, then it will give the height, that is the probability of that country. Similarly, for the language we have 2000 language. At each language, we have the probability chart, height. How many people belong to that particular language? Now I have XY plane. I have XY plane. In the this is X axis, this is Y axis, then this is XY plane. If this is XY plane, then I can pick any X comma Y, where Y talks about the language, X talks about the country. Okay, country has probability distribution against the number of people. Language also have probability distribution against the number of people only. So both are both are against the both are against the number of people only. Okay, now in that fashion, I have XY plane. I'm just rotating it. This is XY plane. If this is XY plane, this is X axis, this is Y axis, then there are many points here X comma Y. Against each X comma Y, if I take X as something alpha and Y as beta, where beta may be Punjabi language and X may be India, then I have a subsection, I have a rectangular region, and there I have a vertical bar. That vertical bar talks about the height of vertical bar. Height of vertical bar is number of people they belong to India and have language Punjabi as their mother tongue. But Punjabi mother as a mother tongue, people can belong to Pakistan also. There are two countries where Punjabi is mother tongue, India and Pakistan. If I talk about Bangla, then it will be India and Bangladesh. If I talk about Nepali, then it will be India, Bhutan. Bhutan also Nepal people live. India, Bhutan, and Nepal. This is for Nepali language. Okay, like that. If I talk about Tamil, then it will be India and Sri Lanka. That will come as Tamil population. That is like, okay, if I say Sindhi, probably it will be only the Pakistan. If I talk about Baluch language, then it will come many things. I believe Afghanistan, the southern part of Afghanistan, Baluch people live. Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran. Okay, these are it is called that Baluch tribe or Baluch people. They live till Turkmenistan. That is the diversification of the Baluch people. Means in Turkmenistan also few tribes out there, a few people out there, they talk in Baluch language. So Baluchistan is a big country. Anyway, so now they will have Baluch as a Baluch language. They will have intersection with four countries: Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Iran. Okay, that is the way. Anyway, now if I take the from x-axis alpha and y-axis beta, Punjabi and India, then I will come to a small rectangular region on the xy plane, and that point is alpha comma beta. A small rectangular region, if I say, because India will have one width here. If I divide into section, there are 254 sections. One section belongs, I divided into 254 sections. India section is like this, language section is like this. Punjabi and India, they will form a rectangle. In that rectangle, I can draw a vertical bar, and that is the bar height is Height is how many people are Punjabi language and belong to India. Divide by n. N is the number of people living in the world. That bar will be of that height. If I have a mesh, if I have a mesh, now there are three bars now. One bar is above the x-axis for the country, that is also divided by n only. One bar is above the y-axis, that is the language bar. Against each language, how many people live? That will again divided by the n, that is the number of people in the world. On the xy plane, again there are bars that belong, that says that there is an intersection between language and country and how many people live in that fashion. That is again divided by n. Okay, now someone can say, looks like that if you take any alpha comma beta or x comma y, then the population over there or probability of the population over there, that can be related to fxy, certain. That can be said as fxy. Make sense? So if I take all the bar in xy plane, I have so many xy points. That is the country and language. So many xy points. Again, each xy point, I have a vertical bar. Mind it, this is digital, discrete. This is not continuous. Okay, I have a section here and I have a language section here. And they go and form a rectangle. There are a mesh of rectangle here. What is the count of rectangle? 2000 by 254. Those many rectangle it will form. Against each rectangle, there is a vertical bar. If there is a vertical bar, there is a height point of the vertical bar. If I connect all the height point of the vertical bar, it will give a surface. Makes sense? Okay. If I connect all the vertical bar in xy plane, it will result in 1. If I take the vertical bar on x-axis that correspond only to the country, then this vertical bar, if I connect the top, it will give a curve, line, single dimension. Same as for language, it will give a curve, single dimension. But in xy plane, if I draw all the vertical bar, if I connect, it will give a surface. That's why it is three-dimensional. Okay, someone is free to calculate the algebraic equation of the surface also. No one is stopping anyone. Okay, but if you add all the bars in the xy plane, it will give you 1. Now, question is arising. I have been given fxy. What is your fxy? Fxy is x plus y. Hop. What is x plus y? What is your fxy? Fxy means x plus y. This is my fxy. X plus y. X plus y means if country count is 1 and language count is 1, then there is one, only one person is living out there, 1 by n. That's it. Okay, means in Afghanistan and whatever the first language, Angika is the language we are talking about. Afghan, say Afghan is the language, that is the first language. Then there is one person, Afghan. I believe Afghanistan, Afghan language, Pashtun language. Pashtun language is being spoken in Afghanistan, Iran, and Pakistan. Three countries, the Pashtun language primarily it is being. If I talk about Hindi, that is considered as the major language of India. But I personally don't believe so, because if you Hindi is the language that is called the primary language of the Gangetic Plain, North India. But it is completely false. If you go to Bihar, where Hindi is considered as the language, but Hindi do not belong to anyone's language. In Bihar, there are separate languages. And if you go to village, probably people would not understand Hindi at all. I have personally seen. Okay, people would not understand Hindi at all. People will see you like an American or England from England if you talk in Hindi. For them, Hindi is very big thing. Okay, but anyway, if I just talk, the Hindi is a more or less city or town language. There also, if you go to Bihar in city, there is no city out there. There are small towns out there. It's a pure plain area, pure plain. If you drop water, it will not go anywhere. It is pure plain. Okay, if you have a tube well to irrigate your agricultural land, then you can take the mouth of the tube well water all 364 degrees. Okay, because there is no slope at all. If there is a slope and you place a tube well, then water can go only downward. It will not go upward. Means if you place water and if you dig a kind of Nala means if you dig the earth, make a line and expect that water will go along in the agriculture, it will not go. Water will only go down the stream. But in Bihar, if you have a tube well, then the water will go all around because there is no slope at all, no slope. So flood comes there. If water, it is water stagnancy happens out there. Okay, that is the Bihar. Anyway, if I talk about, so there is no city out there because if it rains, then water will spread. So city cannot be formed in that fashion. Small town are there, but that is secondary. Primarily is the village. So there, means town also no one talks in Hindi. Hindi. I believe same is concept of Uttar Pradesh also. I personally seen Uttar Pradesh. People they talk in their own language. Hindi is foreigner to them. But all together we say Hindi is a language of northern part of India. If we talk in that fashion, Hindi is understood, not spoken. In northern part of India, I mean, there it is spoken by some people. But otherwise, Hindi is understood in Nepal. Hindi is understood in Tibet. Hindi is understood in Kasi, Kasgar, that is in China. Hindi is understood in Afghanistan. People would have seen Talibani soldiers talking in Hindi with the Hindi media people. Okay, Talibani spokesperson. He is found talking in Hindi. Many Talibani leaders they have found in talking in Hindi. Hindi is understood in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Kasi Kasgar, that is right now in China. Tibet and then Bhutan, Nepal, Burma also Hindi is understood. Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and Maldives. Still, still Hindi is a language that is understood. Okay, anyway. Now these are the intersections. Now I am talking that if I have a country and language intersection, then there are 2000 into 254 small rectangles are there. Again, each rectangle I have a vertical bar. These are digital representation. In that fashion, I have a surface that is formed above xy plane, and that surface, each point is fxy, function over x and y. Whereas if I take country axis, then I have fx. If I take language axis, then I have fy. Can I get back fx from fxy? That is the question. What is your fx? When x equal to 27, then fx is 150 by 900. I believe it is all right. 27 means consider that is the block for dedicated for India. If this is x-axis fx for India, the height would be 150 by 900, 15 by 90, 15 by 90. That is fx. But I have given someone fxy. Can someone calculate with fxy? Can someone calculate fxy, fx with fxy? Is it possible? Okay, best. Is it possible? Can I calculate what is the vertical bar at India? India. If I give fxy, simple. If you have fxy, then sum fxy for all y. Makes sense? If I want fxy, I want fxy, I want fx. Fx is nothing but fxy at x equal to something. Fxy at x equal to 27. Okay, at x equal to something. If this is the x equal to 27, that is India, along this there is a vertical line, it will go, a strip will go from here, and there will be intersection rectangles will be there, that is 2000 in number. Against each rectangle there is a vertical bar. If I add all the vertical bar at x equal to 27 in the y-axis direction, all the vertical bar, it will give the function that is fx at x equal to 27. Hope. This is called discrete terminology. Summation. Summation I equal to 1 to m, where m is number of languages. fxy at x equal to 27. Okay, if someone add for all y, he will get the f fx at 20. Okay, is it possible? Is it possible? No, someone has to add all. Okay, then it is. Okay, this is discrete. summation I equal to 1 to m fxy fxy. Okay, fxy at fxy for all y, fxy for all y when x equal to x1 or 27. If x equal to 27, then along this whatever the y is coming, you have to add all those, add all the vertical bar, you get the fx at x equal to x1. Thank you very much. What is continuous function? Continuous function and discrete function are separate. What is relationship between them? Discrete function is a function that talks about connecting all the vertical bar top point. If I connect, then it becomes a surface. I can say it is fxy, but it is sampled at all the even x and y. That is discrete function. If I add all the vertical bar in the xy plane, it will come as 1. What is continuous function? Continuous function is also a surface, but there is nothing called sampling at a discrete point. You can sample at any x in fraction and y in fraction. But what is similarity? Then volume under the fxy is 1. That is it. So I can say summation I equal to 1 to n, where n is number of countries. Summation j equal to 1 to m, where m is number of language. Fxy against each x and y, I and j. Fxi comma yj against each xi yj. If I have vertical bar, if I add all the vertical bars, it will become 1, equal to integration x equal to 1 to 254, y equal to another integration y equal to 1 to 2000. That is a language. Gxy dx dy, that will give the volume underneath a surface called gxy, and that will be 1. Okay, if that is the case, then how I can represent India and Punjab? Okay, if Punjab is at number, consider Punjab is at number 1001, where India is at number 27. F27 comma 1001, go in the mesh and see what is the vertical bar. This is digital way, discrete way. Get the value, that is Punjab, India. Okay, if I talk in continuous fashion, then what it would be? It would be integration x equal to 1000 to 1001. In that section, I believe Punjab is there. I'm sorry, x equal to 26 to 27. 27th section is the India section. X 26 to 27, y 1000 to 1001. Gxy dx dy. If someone calculates the volume in a strip where x is for the India and y is for Punjab, that volume will be the probability. Here, one vertical bar is the probability. That's why it is called point mass. A mass is there, but it is pointed. This is called digital. Okay, whereas it is called density function when it comes to continuous function. It is a density. If it is a density, then you have to calculate the volume to get the net weight. That is the probability. Okay, if that is the case, then how I can get fx from fxy? Fxy dy. Fxy multiply with the multiply with the full y. This is y, this is y. If I do dy, it will multiply for this section. Okay, this is dy. This is dx. This is x-axis. Dx will go like this. Dy will go like this. If I do gxy dy, then it will give the summation of the volume for this particular y region. Y is 1000 to 1001. That will, whatever it comes, it will fxy, probably it would be in x and y. This algebra will be in x and y. If you do the integration with dy and y is 1000 to 1001, it will give you formula in fx back. That is the back fx. And if you integrate with dx, not dy, then you will get formula back, that is fy. This is the distribution. This is the relationship. Anyway. Okay, then third term here coming is, there are three terms here, x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. There are three terms here. There is a fourth term comes into the picture, that is called vector. If I have a surface gxy, continuous surface, or a discrete surface fxy, if I take any point here x comma y comma z, If I connect a line, a straight line from origin to that point x comma y comma z, that is called vector. Okay, that is called vector. How vector play a role in kind of dividing problem into n part and finding the solution. Okay, I'm tired of this. There was a rubber here. The rubber is broken. Hope non. There was a rubber here. Okay, now we will try to use vector now. That is the concept. Then we will go to use vector in the two dimension, three dimension. This is two dimensional. Means there is an arc, there is a circle. Consider this is a circle. If this is a circle, then I have to find the circumference or area of it. Consider I have to find circumference of the circle. Circumference of the circle. The concept of summation to integral is dividing the problem into n different parts. Now consider I am dividing the problem on x-axis. This is x-axis and this is y-axis. This is origin. Now I am cutting x-axis into n different parts. If I cut x-axis into n different parts, then let's take ith part. There are n parts on the x-axis. Let's take ith part. This is ith. This is the first part, second part, third part, ith part. If I take ith part, it will go hit on this circumference at this point. This is the first point. This is the second point. What is the length of this point? What is the length of this arc? If I know length of this arc, then I can sum for all the x because all the x, the cutting section is same. If this is ith section, this is origin. This is the ith section. If I chop x-axis into n part, this is the ith section. This is the origin. The ith section, there are 2 points in ith section. First point go hit here, get hit here, and second point hit here. This is the section it is making. This point, if I connect from origin, this is a vector. If I connect through origin, this is another vector. Two vector. If I subtract, consider this is P1, vector P1, and this is vector P2. If I do P1 minus P2, it will give another vector that is in direction of connecting these 2 points like this, or P2 minus P1, whatever it is. It will give in this direction. Okay. If I say I have a two vector, if I say I have a two vector, and if I add these two vectors, there will be resultant vector that will come that will be between these two vectors. That is the resultant vector. It will go through the another point that forms a parallelogram, something like that. But if I subtract these two vectors, another vector will come that will connect these 2 points, and it will go like this. It will go like this. Okay. Now, I am asking one thing. What is dp by dx? If I ask anyone, can you tell me what is dp by dx? dp by dx means if this is x-axis, this is x-axis. Okay, this is x-axis, x, one x. This is another x, or this is one x. This is another x. dp by dx. At this point, I have position. This point is touching the circle. This point is touching the circle here. So this is the position vector. Another point is touching the circle here. This is the position vector. dp by dx, if there is one unit of change along x-axis, one unit can be 1 picometer also, very small. If there is one unit means not 1 meter, one unit, any one unit. If there is one unit of change along x-axis, I see how much change I see in position vector. This is the first position vector, this is the second position vector. How much change in position vector shift I see if there is one unit of change along x-axis, dp by dx. Okay, change in position vector from one point to another point lead to another vector that will touch these 2 points. This will go along this. dp by dx, if there is one unit of change along x-axis, it brings how many unit of how much change in the position vector. Okay, I know this is x1 and this is x2 and distance is 1 unit. In that fashion, it will go hit here. This is p1 and this is p2. This is the vector. That is the difference I can see when there is one unit of change. Okay, can you tell me the difference in magnitude? Because you are showing difference as a vector, right? Yeah. Okay. Then per unit change along x-axis brings how many unit of distance in the vector? Then magnitude of P1 minus P2, that is resulted because of 1 unit of change. So magnitude of P1 minus P2, that is dP, change in the position vector. dP magnitude by dx means 1 unit change along x-axis makes how many length change in position vector. And that length is very small because I have taken 1 unit. 1 unit means extremely infinitesimally small. Well, it can be in picometer. In that fashion, I can see 1 unit change. If it is that much small and it is a straight line, I can think that that is more or less similar to the curve. What is similar to the curve and what is curve? Okay, what is speciality about? Please watch our previous video. What is speciality about taking the why we are taking curve? Why we are taking vector when we are trying to calculate the perimeter? Okay, vector talks vector. When if I say vector, equation of vector is 0 comma 0 and this is x comma y, then it will be xi plus yj. Vector keeps x and y together. That is the speciality of the vector. If it is 3D, then vector would keep x, y, z together. That is the speciality of the vector. Vector can represent a line. Vector can represent a curve. Vector can represent a surface. Vector can represent a volume. Vector is amazingly different. Anyway, if I say change in vector, okay, means there was one point here. If this is x1 and this is x2, change from x1 to x2, it go hit here, and this point is x1 y1 and this point is x2 y2. If I talk about change in vector, then it talks about x2 minus x1 I plus y2 minus y1 j. It keeps both x and y. If I calculate the magnitude, it will give the distance between these 2 points as a straight line. Okay, but per unit change is very small area. Means that a straight line will go along the curve. I can't believe how it will go along the curve. It is a straight line. Yes, it will go along the curve. How it will go? Because y is dependent upon x. There is a hidden sum. x2 minus x1 I, that is the dp vector, dp by dx, plus y2 minus y1j. Okay, if I call both of them as delta xi plus delta yj, y is dependent upon x. There is a algebraic equation there. Those are not independent to each other. In that fashion, the vector will go along the curve only. Okay, in that fashion, dp by dx per unit change in x, if I calculate the magnitude of dp, so magnitude symbol, that is also called absolute. So two parallel line, vertical line d of p by dx will give 1 unit change along x-axis. How much is the arc length I am seeing? Okay, this is how it is. Okay, but it has to be in x only. Y has to be converted in x. Okay, now I have made n section. The ith section length is delta xi. If this is minus a and this is a, then full length is 2a by n. I'm sorry. If full length is 2a, one section length is 2a by n. I can say it is delta xi for ith section. For 1 unit movement along x-axis brings the curve length as modulus of dp. Then if it is delta xi, then multiply by delta x. Who is stopping you? Means dp d of p magnitude by dx into delta xi will give the, for delta x section, what is the parameter? Now sum it. That is the full parameter. Now I can't believe you have to summation I equal to 1 to n. Summation I equal to 1 to n, where I is the, now I have to talk about the ith section. Ith section parameter. And ith section parameter is d of p magnitude by dx into delta xi. It is the ith section parameter. Sum it for all the delta x along x. It will give the parameter. I can't. We will do it. I believe it is long time. Okay, we will do it. So this will give the parameter of the circle. This is importance of poly. Oh, why didn't you try dy by dx? Why you did dp by dx, dy by dx? Because y is vertical and x is horizontal. If I say dy by dx, means y will always give change in the vertical. If I move one x to another x, at this point vertical is this. This point vertical is this. If I say dy by dx, if I move in x axis this much, then how much is the difference I see in y? It will give the vertical of difference. That is dy by dx. For this much x, this is the vertical y. If here dy by dx, if I talk dy by dx, this is x-axis, and consider I am talking this is x1, this is x2. At x1, y is y1, this is the height. At x2, this is the y2. What is this? This is x2 minus x1 will give y2 minus y1. This guy. Dy by dx is what? I don't want vertical here. I want along the curve. Along the curve, if you want, then you have to mix x and y. Then only you will get along the curve. If you just say x, then it will be in this direction. If you just say y, then it will be in this direction. Then what is there which mixes x and y? That is the vector which mixes x and y. Now, if I say dp by dx, then position vector will move along the curve. Why? How it will move along the curve? Because position vector is xi plus yj. Y is dependent upon x. Y has a formula. It can be written as xi plus the square root of a square minus x square j. Okay, dp by dx, if I move one unit, how much position vector would move along this? Okay, means it will move along the curve because y is dependent upon x, and if I substitute y formula with the x, then it will move j and I, it will move along the curve because y is dependent upon x in a curve manner. Okay, we will do it. So can we calculate now we can calculate the ith section, any ith section through vector. Okay, the concept is, can we use this in probability distribution? That is the vector fundamental. I have not seen in the book, I have not seen introduction of vector in the probability distribution. Personally, I have not seen. If it would be there, if someone understands this concept, then he is free to bring this vector concept into probability distribution, into probability, into the probability and probability distribution, into the point mass, into the discrete manner, and into the continuous manner, both areas. And it will take care of many things. We will discuss it. This is not, these are not mentioned in any of the book. Please do not mind supporting us. +91 is the India country code. 9483160610 is the telephone number. +91 is the India country code. 9483160610 is the telephone number.